Hi, I'm Alan. I'm a technician in the Edric Theatre in Borough Road. I'm also a mental health first aider and a mental health champion, and I live with bipolar disorder. So I had mental health issues, I guess you could say, from sort of my early teens onwards, and they sort of escalated when I got to about 17, 18. I started having quite constant panic attacks. But as I got a little bit older, sort of early 20s, mid 20s, I started to get really long, prolonged bouts of quite extreme depression, and then long incidences of being really euphoric and happy, which I later found out were manic episodes or mania. It got to the point sort of where it was quite hard to live with it and quite hard to function properly. Eventually, I got referred to a psychiatrist. I did some talking therapy, and when I eventually went to the psychiatrist, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and I was put on some medication for that. The first set of medication really didn't agree with me, and they eventually changed me onto a new medication, which is the one I'm currently on. And it was sort of a silver bullet revelation for me, really, because I think for the first time since maybe I was 9 or 10, I felt like a normal person, whatever normal is, obviously, but I felt quite grounded and centered. I'm maybe 2-3 years into that sort of medication now, and I'm really well managed. My condition is stable. I don't have those really high highs as much as I used to, which, if I'm being totally honest, I do miss to some degree, but at least the highs I do have now are much more controlled, and the lows are never as low as they were when they were at their worst. Living with bipolar during the COVID pandemic has been difficult, but I guess it's been difficult for everyone. It's been really important for me to have routine. Making sure I've been able to do that has been really important, but also keeping myself occupied and doing things that I either enjoy or that take up my time when I've got free time. And luckily for me, my wife's an occupational therapist, so she's been making sure I have meaningful occupations. We've moved into a new house, so I spend a lot of time doing that up and getting that ready and painting it and stuff like that. And we're also expecting our first child in July, so planning for that, I've sort of sunk myself completely into that. And that's been great. It's given me a real focus, as well as obviously work as well. And I've kept myself busy there, and I've been learning new things, and I've been creating content online for students. So for me, it's just been about keeping busy. If I had to give 3 pieces of advice for supporting a colleague or a friend or family member with bipolar disorder, it would be first, talk. Talking is really important. It's not for everybody, but for the most part, talking helps. And talking about things like what somebody's triggers might be, what signs there might be that someone is either in a depressive or a manic or hypomanic state. Everyone's are different, and I think people who live with bipolar disorder have quite a lot of insight into their own condition. They know what, maybe not in the moment, but they can at least know retrospectively what signs there are that they've been going through one of either of the episodes. So talking to someone about that and being aware of those things is really helpful, because at least you can spot them when you see them. The second thing I would say, which is probably more important than talk, is to listen. And it's to listen to what people have to say about their conditions, but also listen to how they feel about different situations. Everybody, obviously, regardless of whether you've got a mental illness or mental health condition, has preferences and things that bother them and things that don't bother them. And I think those can be magnified for someone with bipolar disorder. So listening to what helps somebody, or to what situations make them feel uncomfortable, all those things are really important. And just listening to, their experiences, because they're the ones who have lived through this and are going through these things. So listening to what they have to say is always going to be more important than pretty much anything else. And then the third thing you can do is just be a champion for it. So I think it's really important to make sure that the language we use is inclusive, and doesn't make someone feel ashamed of their condition, in the same way that trivializing things like obsessive compulsive disorder by saying, I like my things neat, therefore I have OCD. I think trivializing being in a bad mood or having a mood swing as being a bit bipolar can, I think, feel like it diminishes what is, quite a serious and difficult condition to deal with. So being a champion for stuff like that is really cool. And calling out language, problematic language when you see it, for anything, whether it's ableism, racism, sexism, it's the same for mental health conditions. Being able to point out, hey, that's maybe not the best way to talk about this particular thing, or these words and this language is a little bit problematic. All that stuff's really important, because at the end of the day, we're just normal people. And I think a really important thing to remember with bipolar is we're not ticking time bombs. We're just regular normal people. We just happen to have this condition that we live with. So those are the three things I would say: is to talk, listen, and just be a champion for it, because I think it's quite a misunderstood illness and condition. And the more people know about it, the more people talk about it, the more beneficial it is for people with it and for everybody else, because, knowledge is power, I guess.